Hi everyone, good evening. So welcome to 37th episode of the Logo Files Lounge. Right now we will be doing the part that we had left in the last episode, which was basics of Excel. So we had done some part of it and rest of them we are going to do right now. Yes, good evening Sunanda, Devmitra, Jitendra. All right. So I will quickly start this session. Okay, so just wait for a second. Let me start the session now. Krupa, good evening. Okay, so we had done some part of it, some part of basics of Excel in the first part, which was in episode 36. Rest of them we are going to do. Not we, of course, we cannot cover everything of Excel in just two sessions, but the idea here was to give you a starter. uh, you can get started. You know how Excel functions. Some of you are already using it, but some of you, for many of you, and a lot of them, especially for writers and digital marketers, this is a kind of they just get started with Excel. They find it difficult to start. So that was the purpose of these two sessions. Um, yes, Pradeep, Deepak, Krupa, Nancy. Good evening. All right. So what we have done is, again, I have covered some part of it, which I believe is important for writers and digital marketers to do this, to learn and utilize in their day-to-day life. Okay. In case if you have any kind of um, questions in terms of using Excel for your requirement, do send me either on the chat or through email, and I will try to help you in the way on how you can manage those formulae. All right, Asif, good evening. So now I will share the my screen and we'll get started soon. Okay. So this is 37th episode, and one part of it we had already done in the last episode. The remaining part, some part of it, we are going to do today. Okay, so this is the agenda. That is, I believe I just need to quickly fix the system. There is some issue with the screen which is not coming completely, so just allow me a moment. I will try to fix that up quickly. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to ask until I fix the system in terms of uh, the resolution so that it appears properly on your screen. Okay, just hold for a second. Yes. Okay. Okay. So here we are. I believe now this should not be a problem. Okay, now my screen should be visible. Complete screen should be visible. In case if it is not, feel free to send me a message over here. I will try to fix that. Yes, Tanvi, Manisha, Megha, good evening, everyone. Good evening. So this is the agenda for today. It's some of the miscellaneous things we are going to do as a basic function of Excel. Then we will be doing a what if analysis, right? Then pivot table, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP. These two functions are very important for reporting and analyzing and getting things done in Excel. And then charts. How do you make clean, neat, and clean, good looking charts in Excel file, right? Um, so, the first miscellaneous tips, and by the way, in any case, if you have any questions, uh, do ask me if you have any questions. Yes? Yes, Savita, good evening. So, now this is miscellaneous tips. Let's begin with this. And we will learn these. Paste special and how do you copy and paste. There are different ways to copy and paste on Excel. We will learn these one by one. So let me begin with creating a Excel file. Yes. Now you can see my screen. I have just valued some. Okay, Megha is saying is Excel needed in content writing? Megha, as such, Excel is not required. The purpose of this session was uh, to analyze data, to uh, manage your own portfolio, links, URL, sending invoicing to the client, managing your own finances. So this is a peripheral activities. It is not directly used until you are doing some technical writing or business writing. Also, some parts it will be required. In fact, we will learn here in business plan. When you write a business plan, it's really important. uh, Understanding Excel, the understanding of Excel is very important, so you will be required to know to do a good job in the business plan. Lookup function is mostly used and it is easy to learn. Absolutely. There are a lot of other functions also used in Excel. So, right. In fact, all the tools, all the formula is quite easy to learn. It's just you have to practice a bit and then you will learn. Okay. Uh, all right. So here it is. So let's see. Suppose I have to format this data. I'm just trying to tell you on how do we copy and paste things. So for example, suppose I am just giving formatting this. Okay. Um, okay. This way. Now suppose I'm making this header as of a particular color. So I will go wear a color, right? Now suppose I have to copy and paste this data over here, right? Here. So one way of pasting is simply Control V, paste. So look at this, it is coming exactly in the same way that was written. But in certain cases, you may not want exactly in the same way. You may want uh, to deal with this formatting part. Let's see how many ways we can paste this. So if you right click and you will see paste special. Now there are a lot of things if you want to paste formula. So for example, let me see this. Paste formulas. Okay. So now here this formula has been pasted. This was converted into Excel later on. It is not showing. Similarly, if I go and look at this, this formatting has also not been pasted. If I click once again on right click side and then I try to paste, if I click on paste special, then um, formats, comments, validation, all except borders. So these are some parts where you can use values in number formats, formulas in number formats. And look at this. Suppose I click on this values. Now it will not take, it is just taking the value. It is not taking the formula, right? Here we have, in this particular case, we have applied a formula, right? But in this case, it is not taking the formula, it is just taking the number. Similarly, suppose you are copying and pasting from another source, and you would have seen if you use Hemingway app, if you copy content from Hemingway app and paste it in your Google Doc or anywhere, it also accepts the formatting. But you do not want to use that formatting. You simply want to paste that um, like the formatting should not be pasted. So in that case, you should simply paste, click on paste special, and do this. Sorry, I copied something else. Suppose I copy this and I will just click on paste special and then formulas, right? This one, or just values. Okay, if I want to keep formats, then I can keep this as it is, then it is not taking the format. So this is the paste special operation that is most frequently it is used to ensure that you do not have you do not paste the format from the source, you just paste the value, right? This is one way. I will simply delete that. Another thing is that we need to learn is ascending and descending order. So in case if you have to arrange data in Excel, what you can do is, I have taken for example the sales figure. Okay, now this is the sales figure, and suppose I need to uh, this is given in a not in a particular order, but I want in particular order, maybe ascending or descending. Ascending means from lower to higher, descending means from higher to lower. If I want that thing, so simply what I can do is I can click over here, right, and go on Excel, click on this short smallest to largest or largest to smallest. I will click on this. Now this is asking two things: expand the selection or continue with the current selection. If you will click on expand the selection, so it will rearrange the other columns as well. So it will take column A, B, C, and D. So usually if you are sorting any particular table that has multiple columns, then yes, they methodize data sorting. So what you should do is you should expand the selection so that these does not get changed. Otherwise, what will happen is, suppose if only column E is sorted from lowest to highest, in that case, it will give an inaccurate value, right? So we will expand the selection and then click on sort. So now, see this from the smallest to highest, it is going from smallest to highest, and other values have also taken the corresponding values of the rows. Similarly, you can make this from largest to smallest and then you can change in this way. Okay, this is about sorting from in a particular order. Okay, similarly you can pick up anyone. So for example, I can take from date wise, I can click from lowest to smallest, oldest to newest, or newest to oldest. So newest to oldest. In this case, expand the selection and then click on sort. So it is starting from this way, right? So this is how you sort things. All right. Then I'm getting a question from Megha, who is saying, please also tell to make Excel sheet if you're planning for something and then want to show in Excel sheet, as if you want to show future plans to our parents through Excel. Megha, I did not understand your question. Can you please repeat that? Tell make Excel sheet if you're planning to from something and then want to show it in the Excel sheet. Megha, please rephrase your question. Savita is saying after selecting the value, what to click? See, if you select, see, look at this. If you select this value, I mean, you just select on E, then you have to click on this. Just have a look on A to Z on this part. Okay, this way. On go on ribbon, and then you have to click on sort and filter. This one. Then something will appear, which is and this drop down is appearing, and then you have to select either sort from smallest to largest or from largest to smallest, right? Yes, Sabita, so this is how you uh, sort things out, right? Okay, this is about sorting data in Excel. Then, after selecting yes, then remove duplicates. In many cases, when we have certain data, like suppose I am taking this and you have this happens primarily when you have phone numbers of people and you have to send messages, right? Or email IDs, or you have data and a lot of data is duplicate. And if you want to duplicate, now look at this. In this particular example, 10 is there multiple times. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12 is coming 1, 2, 3. So one way is manually remove this, delete this additional number of 10, right? This is one way that you can manually remove the most repeated numbers. And another way of doing things is suppose this one. So removing duplicate means any number which is being duplicated. Yes, Deepak, good evening. Uh, so these are 10 is repeated 5 times, 12 is repeated 3 times, and suppose you want to store only unique numbers. So for example, if you're storing email IDs, um, mobile phone, mobile numbers, etc., and you do not want to store the duplicate numbers, in that case you will simply click over here on B, on the column in which the data is there. Click on B, go on data, and then simply click on remove duplicates. If I click on remove duplicates, it is saying that from which um, header you want to remove duplicates. It is in the column B, and then click on OK. See, it is saying 6 duplicate values found and removed. 8 unique values remains. So now all the remaining 10 has been removed. 12 have been removed. Just one unique value is kept over here. So this is how you uh, store the unique value and remove duplicates, right? So this is about removing duplicates. Then freeze rows and columns. This is many beginners in Excel, when they start Excel, they face a problem in terms of, suppose this is my data and this data has around 278. Okay. Now, if I come over here, if I scroll down and come at the end of the data, I am not sure what was the header of B. The header of B is not visible, right? The header of C is also not visible. Similarly, suppose here you are making a change, you are doing something, and if you just scroll down this, so I am taking this and then scrolling down, so this column is also disappearing. And many beginners and anybody, if suppose if I have to make any changes, I have to find out on which date this transaction happened. So I have to go back once again and then look at this. Okay. Similarly, if I'm here and I want to know on which day this transaction happened, then I have to scroll down. I have to just go on the left hand side and look at the 21st of April. This is where the transaction happened. Okay. So in that case, if the data is large, then it becomes very difficult to move from right to left or from bottom to top to just to look at the headers. Okay. Suppose see I'm here. I do not know what this education is, whether the header is industry or education is something else, right? So it is not visible. It is just D is visible. It is not visible what this consists of. right? And suppose similarly, if you have written over here, suppose here names are written, right? Name of students, and here email IDs are there. And if you just scroll right inside, names will disappear, right? And every time you have to look at the name and then you have to write corresponding email IDs. The best part to work with this is go and freeze these columns in these rows. That even though if you scroll on right hand side or scroll down, this column will be fixed. So suppose I want to fix this row. What will I do? I will simply go here and click on view and then click, see that, freeze panes, freeze top rows, freeze first column. So since I have to freeze just one row, top row, so I will click on freeze top row, and now this row has been fixed, freezed. So even if I am scrolling down, you will see that the headers are visible: date, services, client name, industry, and value. So it's easier for me to work on this data. Why? Because now if I have to do any particular entry, even here, I can just go and see that this is, I have to enter a new data. So for example, 10 October, okay, 22. And here suppose I have to enter. So I'm saying that now details are visible over here, okay, and value. So you know that you don't have to scroll up and down for that. So this is about freezing pane. Similarly, if you go over here and look at this, now the date of transaction is the first column is not visible, right? So you can then freeze first column. Now if I click on freeze first column, now this, look at this, date has been freezed. So irrespective of, even if you reach at the end of the Excel, these columns are freezed, and therefore it is clearly visible. This is freezing panes, absolutely mega. So it makes your data analysis easier. This is about first row and first column. Suppose I want to freeze from here all the rows above email marketing and all the columns on the left hand side of client 2. For example, this, all the rows above this. So I want to freeze row number 1, 2 and 3 and column number 1 and 2. So I will place my cursor over here, then click on view once again, and then click on, first I have to click on this unfreeze so that all the columns and rows becomes unfreeze. Suppose I click here, then click on freeze panes, and see, just because I had placed my cursor over here, so all the rows above this are now freezed, and all the columns on left hand side of this are also freezed. So I can now see first two rows are fixed, and similarly first two columns are fixed. Okay, so this is about freezing rows and columns to make your data analysis easier. Then working with templates. Many a times when you will work with your clients, you will have to send invoices. Sometimes you have to send proposals. Sometimes you have to create a data. You have to use one calculation every time you use a new Excel file. So you don't have to keep. So the best example is creating an invoice, for example. If you are working with your clients and they constantly tell you that I need an invoice, okay, or every month you have to send an invoice. Now creating an invoice every time in a Google Doc or in MS Word is very difficult because it becomes unmanageable at one point in time. So what you can do is, when you are opening a new file in Excel, you click on new, okay, and okay, directly this has opened, but suppose I'm just closing this and this one. Just hold for a second. I will just show you one thing, how to create templates. So for example, if I go over here and I have to use a new Excel file, Okay, just a second. Okay, I'm closing this file and I will open a new file. It is opening now. The moment you will open a new file, it will ask for a few things like this will appear. Okay, and there it is saying that blank workbook, and this is a welcome tour where you can go and see how Excel functions, and these are some of the templates which is there. There are many templates over here. You can create your own templates, or you can use existing templates, which is very useful. So for example, making a list, a list, track my tasks, the tasks that you've done, manage your money. So this is complete budgeting thing. Personal budget, where do you spend your money and all. Family budget, credit card payoff calculator. One of these, so for example, I have to use for invoice. So I will click on invoice. You can also search something that you specifically need. So I searched an invoice, and you will see there are multiple invoice templates. Okay. Now, based on which design do you like? Suppose I like this design, simple one. This is blue invoice. I will double click over here, and now this is opening. Yes. So you will see this. Um, Invoice template, bill to, name. Here you can put name of the company. Okay, invoice number. Then invoice date. Okay, this is the company. Here item description, amount. So suppose I say item 1 and amount is 10. Item 2, amount is 20, right? And then subtotal is coming over here. Tax rate, you can decide how much tax rate do you charge. 10% for instance. Then automatically it has taken this 10% and it has added 33, right? So the calculation becomes easier. Once you have entered this entire detail, you can change your company name once and it will be there always. So you can, suppose you change your company name. I'm just saying, for example, this one, and your address, etc. Now every time you have to, and then you can save this so that this will be saved, and you can make your own templates as well, right? Now every time we have to send an invoice, simply go on file and then click this save as. Okay, or you can print also if you want, or simply click on save as, and then if you can save as either Excel or simple PDF file, for example. Okay, and I am putting it here, invoice 1. Then this has been saved as a PDF file. You can finally go and send this PDF file. I will just show you how does that look like. So invoice 1. Yes, so now this is it, right? So here you can go. I will just tell you how you can change this dollar sign, but this is it. You can keep on exporting this PDF file simply, and how you will remember. So for example, if you have put in 100 and you have kept this document as it is, next time you can make it 101 and then export it. And then similarly, when you create next time, you can make it 102 and then further export that, right? In this particular case, if you want to change this uh, dollar amount from dollar to INR or something or any other, then you have to go here and you have to choose these custom currency, and there, see, this is coming in rupees. Okay, and then once you've chosen one, this, you can go and click on this paint, and then you can click on this also, right? Or you can simply click on this paint and then do this all, and then this everything. So all amount will be changed into rupees, right? That is how you can create a custom invoice. And it is not just about invoice, there are multiple templates that you can use. If you want to save, if you want to manage your personal finances, again the same thing you have to do. What you can do is, you can see, you can select your invoice, and then suppose I am just removing it. Yes, now suppose if I want to open a new template, so what will I do? Uh, Again, this is in the MacBook. This is how I open an Excel file. You have your own, um, in MS Windows. You will have a different ways to open that. Suppose I open this personal budgeting, for example, budget, right? Family budget, personal budget, manage my money, channel marketing budget, right? And you will business plan, for example. Let me see if there is business plan also or not. Business plan. See this business plan, checklist, social media content calendar. Many of you will be working as a social media marketers as well, and you have this social media marketing calendar. It is already, the calendar is made for you. This is Gantt chart. If you are a student, if you have to work in the university, your teachers tell you to put Gantt chart, and many times you tend to pay people to create that Gantt chart, and you will see that automatic templates are given over here. This is marketing project plan. This is business financial plan is also given. If you will open this, um, and you will find this overview. Now, in this case, you need to have some knowledge: cost per month, off time cost, total cost. So P&L example, profit and loss, all the formulae are already set. You need to open any particular invoice and then click on that, any particular template, sorry, and start changing or making changes as per your requirement, right? So Excel has almost all kind of templates. You simply need to learn, get started from there, and do some experiment. It's very interesting also. Jitendra is saying, if you have two worksheets, can I convert each of them as a separate PDF file? Yes, why not? You can create them. Simply click on the Excel file wherever you are, whichever whichever sheet is active, you can go and save that as a save as this. And suppose if it is saying PDF, now it is asking here, it is whether you want all the workbook to be saved as a PDF file, or you simply want a particular sheet. Here you can click a particular sheet, and that only that sheet will be selected uh, as a PDF file. Now, if you have attended the business plan class, you remember I had discussed that in business plan we use that um, cost financial analysis, right? Forecasting for 5 years and all. A good standard template is given here in Excel file. You can use that template and then build up on that, right? Okay, so this was about templates. And there are a lot of templates that you can use it and get a lot of, experiment that further. Then protecting files with passwords. When you have to send that Excel file to somebody, you can make certain changes to make sure whether the file will be visible to them or not. Um, what is meant by export PDF? Jitendra, export PDF meant by you will save file as a PDF. That is it. Okay. Means you have one file will be saved as your standard Excel file, and another file, the one that you are exporting, that will be saved as a separate PDF file that is exporting that. Then protecting file with passwords. Suppose you have an Excel file and you want to protect that so that even if you send to somebody, only people with password can open that. And there is another level of access that only people with a specific password can make changes. So let's see how we can do that. Um, if we go over here, let me open an Excel file first. And I have to open a recent document. So I will click over here and I will go on this one, which I created for this class. Now, I was talking about protecting file with passwords. So if you will go on file, okay, in Microsoft window, there will be a icon of Excel. You have to click on that. This is MacBook Air, so this is the way it shows in MacBook. In Excel file, it comes as a left-hand column. So when you will click on this here Excel icon, all this file, edit, etc. will come in this particular column, which is coming like right now about Microsoft Excel. That is the only difference, but you will find it. If you click on file, then there are ways that you can make sure. So for example, if you make always open read only, that means if you will send this file to somebody, they can just read it. They won't be able to make any changes in there. And that is specifically helpful if you have kept your Microsoft Word document, this Excel file, in a particular um, Google Drive folder or a shared drive folder where multiple people can access that file, so they won't be able to change that. Similarly, passwords. Here you can click on password, and then there is a way that password to open and password to modify and read only. Also, you can make this file only read only, means nobody will be able to access that. In case pass, if you want, I mean, you understand what is the meaning of open and password to modify, so you can give that different level of access to them in terms of file. Right, so these were some of the basic parts of it, of Excel. Rest these things you can go and experiment on your own also. These are quite easy formatting tools and different ways of doing it. Things. I will now move to the next part. This was left from episode 36, so I thought of completing this first. We will now move to the next part. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a message there. The next part is what if analysis. You know, I have seen many writers struggle to deal with mathematics, right? I mean, whether you accept it or not, but a lot of them try and struggle with mathematics. So if uh, so, the best I have seen that the best they do is that they can calculate the profit. So if 10 rupees is the cost and 20 rupees is the selling price, so they can calculate that 2010 is, sorry, if the 20 is selling price and 10 is the cost price, then the best they can find out is profit is 10 rupee. Many of them, if you ask percentage of profit or return on investment, ROI, so they struggle to find that out. And if you ask more complex questions, okay, and by the way, this is not just about asking something. If you do business writing, you will find that sometimes you tend to use these terms: return on investment, profit. What if I get 20% profit? What exactly I need to do? Whether I have to maintain my cost, whether I have to increase my sales, what exactly do I need to do? So there are, in businesses also, there are various scenarios, and data table we are going to now learn with that. Even in case if Megha is saying, please explain the value and text functions as well. Megha, did you see the video of the last section? If you will do it, if you understand if you have watched the video of last section, I have tried to cover that some part of there. N. Shah is asking if you want to remove password or change, please explain. Okay, so simply again you have to go on those documents, and if you want to remove the password, simply click here and click on passwords. And either you just, so for example, I suppose I have written a password, okay, and I have accepted this, re-enter the password to proceed, okay, and look at this. If you lose or forget the password, it cannot be recovered. It is advisable to keep a list of passwords in their corresponding workbook and sheets names in a safe place. And the password is case sensitive. Okay. Now if I want to change that, I will go here, click on passwords, and I will change that simply. Right? You have the option to change. Nobody else can change that, but the author will be able to change that. Megha is saying, please explain the value and text function. Okay, one thing more before I go to Megha. Ensha, if you want to just remove the password, simply keep it blank. Okay, and save it as okay. Now the password will be removed. Jitendra is saying, if we check read only recommended box, what happens to file? See, the file is, if you click on this password and click on this read only recommended, then this is okay, right? Now if the file becomes read only, then nobody else will be able to make any changes on this. You can make the change, but no one else will be able to do that, right? So only the author has the option to make any changes. No one else can do that. Or if somebody has access to your computer, then someone can sit in your computer and do that. That's it. Right. Mega, some part of it we have covered that in the previous section. Some part of it we will cover it later on, not in the next episode, but in later on. Value and text functions, well, we will surely cover that. Some of them we have already done that. Okay, so this is one. Now let's move to the next part, goal seek analysis. What if? Okay, we will cover this too quickly and then data table in the next section. So, goal seek. I have created this for you to let's understand this goal seek. Okay, let me delete this part. This part I'm deleting it. Nupur is saying goal seek example, if I have to score 80% in exam, how much I have to score in each subject? We can find out with the help of goal seek. Absolutely, Nupur, you are absolutely correct. So I have taken one example to explain this. Suppose here sales is 80,000, cost is 72,000. The profit becomes, look at the function this. I have taken a mathematical equation. Sales minus cost is equal to profit. And then I have taken the ROI, return on investment. So return on investment, you know that profit divided by cost. Okay. So this is not correct, not profit divided by sales, but profit divided by cost. So what I will do, I will change this formula and I will make D3 divided by cost. This ROI becomes 11%. Similarly, here, this is the same case. I will just make it so that this will also change. I dragged the formula here. Now, if I have to, let's profit divided by cost, absolutely Nupur. Now let's see here. Suppose my ROI is, now my question is, what if I want 15% ROI? Then what should be my sales value? Okay, so I will click on this. Okay, I will place my mouse over here. I will go on data. Just look at the steps carefully. I will click on data and then I will go on what if analysis. I will click on what if analysis and then there is goal seek. Okay, goal seek. Then it is saying set cell. Set cell is which cell you want to set goal. So I want to keep E3, E and this 3, E3, right? To value. What is my value? So I want to increase my ROI to 15%. And remember one thing, since this is given in the percentage, this is given in percentage, I will also keep it in percentage only. Otherwise, it will throw an incorrect result. Okay, so I want to achieve 15%, so I will keep the value as 15%. Now here it is asking which cell do you want to change. So here I want to change, suppose I want to change sales. So I will click my cursor over here and I will again select this option 80,000. Then I will click OK. So see, it is saying that goal stick with cell 3, that is target value 0.5, that is 15%. So in that case, you have to increase your sales to 82,800. If you think this is fine, then you can click on OK. I will click on OK. So to gain 15% ROI, I have to increase the sales, or I have to get a sales of 82,800. In case suppose this one, I want that the current ROI is 15%, but I want to have an ROI of 20%. Then what can I do? I will click over here, go on what if analysis. I mean, click on data and then go on what if analysis. Click on goal seek. Now in this case E4, I will select, I suppose I have to increase my ROI to 20%. I will keep it 20%. And my changing which cell, now I want to change the cost. So I will click over here because I have to select this sale and then click on the cost cell and it becomes C. Okay. So that means if I want to have an ROI of 20%, I have to reduce my cost to 75,000, right? This is goal seek analysis. If you ever want to have, suppose if you want to just try this as an example. Suppose you fix your income that as a writer or as a digital marketer, I want to earn this much in a month. Okay. Set your charges per word. Set the number of words that you can write and then do this calculation that how many words you need to write or what should be your per word charges so that you can achieve that goal. Just try it out later on whenever you practice this. It becomes slightly more interesting. That was goal seek analysis. The second part is scenario manager. Now, if again I will take you back to our content writing course classes where we discussed about business plan. Some of you might have attended, some of you will attend in the future. In the business plan, when we learn to write a business plan, you remember we discussed about feasibility analysis of a business. And in any case, if you plan, suppose if you are starting a business, you will plan a feasibility analysis. What is that feasibility analysis? That in the best case scenario, that means if I business do really well, that I will earn this much money. In the worst case scenario, that means if I have to, uh, in the worst case scenario means even if my business performs pathetically bad, really bad, then how much will I earn? And if my business shows an average return, then what will be the value? How much will I earn? So these three becomes best case scenario, worst case scenario, and average case scenario. How can we calculate those scenarios? We will just learn that. But meanwhile, I'm getting one question from Jitender. He's saying that I want ROI of 20% by changing profit cell. See, when you have to earn 20% ROI, the profit has come from a formula. That means profit depends on sales and cost. So you cannot change profit. Okay? You cannot change profit until you change either sales or cost. So either you can make changes only in sales or in cost, not in profit. because if you change these, then profit will automatically change, right? So goal seek cannot be applied to a cell that already has a formula. You apply only to the original or the source cell, the value of which directly impacts the ROI. Yes, we cannot change profit. You can either change sales or cost, right? And that is why we can either make these two changes, because this has come from formula. We have just created this formula for your understanding, right? This ROI entirely depends on the sales value and the cost value. Now let's look at the scenario manager and how do we do that. So what I have done is I have taken this some figures over here. Sales is suppose 6 lakhs in the average case scenario. Cost of goods means the cost that that things you purchased. Salary is this much. Marketing expenses is this much. Overheads is this much, and total cost becomes this much. Okay. Remember that this total cost is, again, it is not independent. It depends on these four factors, right? So, and then the profit is, again, if you look at the profit, if I double click over here, I will see that the profit is total cost minus total sales. Just let me scroll it. Yeah, see this. Profit is total cost minus total sales minus total cost. Okay, so the profit is this much, and ROI once again is this much. Okay, all right. Now if I have to make the changes in these scenarios, okay, suppose I want to change these figures, sales, these four figures, okay, and then I want to see that in different scenarios what could be the cost. So another example is, here you make another column, okay, and do the same, apply the same formula, okay. That becomes difficult when you have a large volume of data, large quantity of data, okay. So if in the case of average, the best way is use scenario analysis to show the data independently, all possibilities independently. How can we do that? So we go over here again on what if analysis, and we click on scenario manager, and see I have already created this. Okay, so for example, best case scenario, I will tell you how to create that. The best case scenario, show. See, it is showing the best case scenario. Then I'm saying worst case scenario, show. Now it is showing the worst case scenario. When you are giving a presentation or when you are doing it for your own self, you can just go and click and see all the scenarios. Okay, Prashant, ROI means cost divided by total, profit divided by total cost. Sorry, in this case there is one mistake. So profit divided by total cost, right? This is ROI. How do we create these scenarios? So what we do is, we suppose I have to create a new scenario. I'm naming it new case scenario. So I will click here from where the data starts, and then I will go on what if analysis, goal seek, goal scenario manager, and then I will create a new, I will click on plus. Scenario name, new case scenario. I'm just keeping it right now. Generic name. Then changing sales. That means which sales will change, right? In that case, we are going to, this has been already been selected. Why? Because I have already created it. In case if you will create from scratch, this will be like this. So changing sales, which sales will change? So this sales will change because the name will appear there. Then sales will change. Okay, no, so this will change. Just a second. This, you have to place shift. This will change. Then this will change. The one which will change, I'm just putting control and selecting the cells that will change, right? Now these 5 will change, and this was name will also change. These 3 will not change because these 3 depends on these factors. And then I will click on OK. Now from me it is asking for the data. Okay, the sales value, this one, it is asking for data. Suppose I put it 7 lakhs. Then C5, sorry, it got this one, edit. I need to change the data. Changing sales, that is okay. So yes, C5, which is cost of goods. So suppose I make it 150. Then C6, which is salary. C6 is salary. So I will make it, suppose I change it to 1,75,000. Then C7. C7 is marketing expenses. Then suppose I'm out of 75, I'm making it 1 lakh. Then C8, which is overheads. Out of 110, let me make it 1,20,000. And then click it OK. And then new case scenario, let me show this. Now this has not been selected, and that is why this name is not changing. Otherwise the rest of the things have changed. Now it is saying that this ROI is negative because the cost exceeds the total sales. Just a second, there is some problem in creating the value. If we make those changes, this one, then this one, right? Okay. Then I will have to name every sale. I have to enter the new values. New case scenario for sales, I have kept 7 lakhs. Suppose I make it 7 lakh. Okay, I kept it 70,000. Make it 7 lakhs. All right, rest is already fine. I have already made the changes. Then becomes like this. I have to show this. Then yes, now it is coming to 28% ROI. That is where the new case scenario, you can keep switching from show from average scenarios, and you can see that new case scenario show. Now you faced one problem when we were changing this. The sales were coming as when we were changing the value like C5, C6, C7, C8, which is very difficult to comprehend that which is the C5 and what are the value that I have to make. So what I can do is, the best way to do that is, change the name of these sales. So for example, if I click on 7 lakhs over here on this part, you will find that this function left hand side there is something called sales because I've changed its name. Whereas I click on this 1,50,000, its name is coming as C5. So the best way to deal with these issues so that you don't face any problem with which sales you need to change. So what you can do is, you can define a name that is called defining a sales name. You can click over here and then define its name like cost. In the name there cannot be anything blank. So I will just cost of goods. I will make it like this, right? This one I will make this name, I will change it to from C6 to salary. From this, I will make from C7 to marketing expenses. And this sale I can change from C8 to overheads. Right? Now look at this. If I go on what if analysis and check this scenario manager, and suppose I have to make any changes, I will click on edit. Okay. Then see, it is coming like cost of goods, overheads. C6 and C7 has not been changed. I will just check why. And this has been changed. So now it is easy to decide, okay, sales, cost of goods, overheads, and you can easily change its values. It's easy to identify them, right? Why this will not change from C6? You have to keep it salary. Okay, now its name has been changed. And this also from C7, you can make it marketing, just you can keep that marketing. It has not even changed. I have to place enter. After writing marketing, I have to put enter. Then only it will accept the name. Right? Just to verify it once again, the names have been changed and you can go back and check this. See this. Sales, cost of goods, salary, marketing, overheads. Now decide sales, change the value. Cost of goods, change the value. Salary, change the value. And then you can decide it and make it complete. Right? This is scenario manager. Next part that we will do is EMI calculation. On how do we calculate EMI? And when we talk about EMI, we are talking about reducing rate of interest. Reducing rate of interest in the sense that I have taken one loan just to show you what is reducing rate of interest. So reducing rate of interest is this. And almost all the banks will give you loan on reducing rate of interest. You can read more online about fixed rate of interest and reducing rate of interest. Fixed rate of interest is very simple. If you've taken a loan of 1 lakh rupees and 10% is the interest rate, then per year interest is 10,000 rupees, which is 10% of the loan amount. And if the loan is for 5 years, simply multiply that 10,000 by 5 and the total interest becomes 50,000. And divide that again into by 60 months, and per month interest you have to pay to your banker. But this is how the fixed interest rate is, but no banker will give you ever fixed interest rate. Okay, and that is also quite high also. Almost all the banks give you the reducing rate of interest, the loan which is reducing rate of interest. I will just explain you what is that reducing rate of interest. Appeared against cell, but the same disappeared while editing. While selecting cells during scenario, dollar sign appeared against the cells, but the same disappeared while editing. Okay, so see what is coming is that when you are editing or you are keeping a name, here it is C7 or C8 or E14 is coming. So in the last episode, if you remember, we had discussed that this is E14, this cell reference is E14 or E1 or E2, but we keep a dollar sign. That means we talk about fixed constant. We are not, so for example, just think of it. I'm talking about 2, right? And here I just look at this 3, 4, right? And here I talk about equal to and then enter. E2 is 2. And then if I just drag this, this is taking E3. Similarly, this is taking E4. But what if I have to just refer to this? I have to make it constant. So I have to make it equal to this and then dollar sign dollar E $2. That means in any case this row and column both are fixed. So in that case, if you just drag and drop, this will remain 2, 2 and 2. It will not change. The reason is we put the dollar sign to fix that row and constant, row and column. So that is why when we were changing anything in scenario manager, it was keeping a dollar sign. That means we are talking just about that. If you simply copy and paste that or drag and drop something, the value will remain constant. That is why it was taking the dollar sign. Dollar sign means only the relative or the row and columns are fixed. So in this case, whenever there is a dollar sign before either row or column, it means that has been kept fixed intentionally. Alright, now moving to EMI functions. And before that, I will tell you about reducing rate of interest. What is that? Now, suppose here I have taken one example that suppose you are taking a loan amount. Just a moment. Yeah, just a second. Okay, suppose you've taken a loan of something, any X amount, 13 point something. The EMI, the loan was around 13, 36, 13 lakh 36,522. This is the EMI amount. Now, banks, the moment you take a loan, banks will set a EMI that you have to pay on a monthly basis. I have taken this. This is the loan amount that you've taken from the bank, and banks have given an EMI of 46 that you have to pay this much of EMI. Now, any EMI has two components. One is principal and the second is interest. Okay, this is the principal component and this is the simple component. Now, this after one EMI, when you pay, for example, on 6 March 19, this was the first EMI. Suppose you have paid your first EMI, right? And this was your initial loan. So principal outstanding, this is equal to the total loan amount minus the principal, not total 46,651, but just the principal component. And then this 1307806. Now the next month you have to pay interest on not on the entire loan amount but just on 1307806. Therefore, your principal is effective principal on which the interest is being charged is getting reduced every month, right? It is very useful for the borrowers as well as for the bankers. So this is called reducing rate of interest loan. How do you calculate in Excel? In in real world, without Excel, calculating EMI is very difficult, especially on reducing rate of interest, because every month your outstanding principal amount reduce, right? It gets reduced, and for every month you will have to calculate the EMI, right? And that would be a different EMI. So Excel has, by the way, a very simple formula that is called PMT function. So PMT function. PMT function is rate, NPER and PV. You can use this PMT function to calculate EMI. Now, PMT rate is equal to interest rate. And since you are paying a monthly installment, so this rate, the value of rate will be annual interest rate divided by 12. Why? Because you are paying a monthly installment. Similarly, NPER means number of periods. So number of periods in which you are paying the loan. So suppose you have taken the loan for 3 years and you are paying on EMI, equated monthly installments. So that means you are paying in 36 times. So number of periods becomes 36. So when we put over here NPER, we multiply 12 multiplied by the number of years because we pay on a monthly basis. And this is the present value. In present value, we always make this in negative. This is the actual loan that you have taken. And since you have taken the loan, you have borrowed the loan, we keep a minus sign when we apply that in the formula. Okay, minus sign just indicates that you are borrowing it. This is your negative balance, and this is specifically useful when companies create their accounting practices. the EMI which is being reflected in their bank account or in their balance sheet is all sorry, the loan amount which is reflected in their balance sheet should always be reflected in negative because it is their liability. This is not their assets. It is not their actual amount. They have to pay it back. So how do we calculate EMI? So I have taken this loan amount is suppose 13,36,522. Tenure is 3 years. Okay, I have kept it 3. And by the way, whenever you write in Excel, remember that in Excel you should never write like this 3 years. The entire purpose of Excel gets defeated if you start writing like this. You just write numbers that can be easily used in formula. So this is tenure is 3 years and this is interest rate is 17% per annum, right? When we have to calculate EMI, how do we do that? So just to give you an idea, just to again we will apply PMT function. So this PMT, the moment you will use PMT, this will come. Now rate, NPER and PV. These FV and type is not needed for you. It is not required for you. It's used in complex financial modeling. These three things you need to use: rate, NPER and PV. Rate is what? As I told you, this is interest rate, but divided by 12 because you are paying on a monthly basis. So this divided by 12, comma, NPER. NPER is number of periods. 3 years, but you are again paying on a monthly basis. So you are paying 36 times. So you will use this into 12, comma, present value. Since the loan amount that you are taking, it is borrowing, this is your borrowing. So this should show negative in your balance. So we keep it negative, this present value. And then we place enter. This is showing 47,651. What if we would not have put that in negative? Let's see that. PMT, this divided by 12, this multiplied by 12 into this. See, this is showing in negative. This bracket sign tells you that it is the negative value, right? And that is why it is showing in negative. Why? Because it is borrowing. That is something that you have to pay. It's not your income, right? And in balance sheet, when everything is automated, and it's not possible for you to go and check that manually. Therefore, it's showing in negative, right? This is where, how do you calculate the EMI? Total repayment in 36 years, how do you calculate that? Look at this. This, your EMI multiplied by 3 into 12 because you are again paying 36 times. So this is, you bought 13 lakhs, you will be paying around 17 lakh 15,000. The interest amount is simple, the total repayment minus the loan amount, which is 3,78,000, right? If any one of you have taken a loan and want to know the interest rate, if you're not sure about the interest rate, okay, if you know the EMI, you can use a goal seek analysis to find out what is the interest rate. So for example, I can go here, I can now use a goal seek. Okay, so for example, this one is fixed, this one is, you can put the EMI over here and you can go and select this, that if you have to pay 15%, 17%, if you are paying this much EMI, suppose if you would have been paying 45,000, then what would be your interest rate, right? So simply in that case, what you need to do, simply go here, select the cell on which you have to set the goal and go on data, click on what if analysis, click on goal seek. D4, the value that you have to pay, suppose you are paying 45,000 rupees as a EMI. Which cell do you want to change? Of course, interest, right? Then just click it here. Then it is showing that if you are paying 45,000 EMI, that means you are getting charged 13% annual interest rate. Shouldn't we use no, Jitendra, you don't need to do that. Round C4 divided by 12, it is not needed because look at this 12, 9, 4, 9, 1. It will automatically take it. And plus, simply if you have to do this, here you have the option to go and just do this if you want exact figures, right? But it's up to you. If you want to use that, you can do that. Else, you can use this one, right? So this is about calculating EMI. Then next is pivot table, which is one of the very important part of Excel, and it is used again in um, analysis. Okay, and almost everybody, anyone who uses Excel, will use this pivot table. How do we do that? So we go here. I have taken a sales figure. I just took the dummy data for this class. But you can have your actual data. And do try this with your personal finance management. It is one of the best tools. And just by if you can use this, learn this pivot table, and use that for your personal finance management, budgeting, you will save a lot of money without actually compromising on anything else because it tells you on where you are spending more and a lot of other things that we do not pay attention to while spending money. So let's see this. Why do we use pivot table, for example? In HR, we use pivot so much. Yes, Devmitra, you have to use so much. And not just in HR, in sales and marketing, in business scenario, and people who run businesses, they sit on this pivot table, they sit on this Excel data because their day begins with pivot table. They have to use this to find out uh, how much sales they are making, how much efforts, whether it is yielding the results or not. Though it is very simple, it's not that difficult. The first question is why do we need that? Why do we need to use pivot table? Okay, and since I'm explaining this because there are a lot of confusion around this. Remember one thing, if you can understand the purpose of anything, half of the questions will automatically be solved. Now, what is the purpose of pivot table? The purpose of pivot table, let me ask you a few questions, simple questions. So if I tell you that how many times client 1 made a purchase, right? Or which services client 1 bought. Now what I can do, I can go here, I can apply a filter, and then I can click over here and then find out, just select client 1, and I found this, that client 1 bought 3 services, SU, SMO and SMO once again. One is 14th October, another is 10th October 22. And he paid once a value of 15,000, and then a value of 21,000, and then value of 40,000. Now, the same question I need to know for client 2 as well. If that exists, yes, client 2 is there, then I will uncheck this one and then I will check for client 2. So now I can see that client 2 bought this 2 services on this particular date, and these are the values. Then same thing I need for client 3. So I will select client 3 and I will deselect client 2. So I got this. But tell me one thing, there are 35 clients. How are you going to select each of them? And then if I have to find out the total value that each client has given you, so that you can find out the most profitable client or the client from which you have generated most of your revenue, then it is difficult because um, you have to note it down from pen and paper. And I've seen many people do it. They use Excel, but despite using Excel, they use pen and paper and notebook to uh, save certain numbers. Okay, you don't need to do that, right? Yes, absolutely, Devmitra and Nupur. We use this to show a summary form of the data that we want to see. That is our requirement and not all the data. We use pivot table to get some insights. Now, suppose I have a same another question, and that question is, what if I have to find out that from SEO services how much did I earn? Then I will go and then I have to select SEO services to see that, oh, acha. So this one that I have selected SEO, then I will go here and select all the values and then find out the sum. You can see in the bottom there were 39 times it was bought and 1 lakh 11 lakh 82,000 I earned from SEO services. But the point here is, yeah, we can make it be very cumbersome, isn't it? Yes, Devendra, it will become very difficult for you to or anybody to do that. And plus, it's error prone also. It will be prone to errors, right? So for that we use pivot so that we don't make these mistakes. And what if then I'm asking, okay, tell me the total amount of value that I earned from client one and client five and from SEO services. So there are a lot of permutation and combination which are there that cannot be solved simply through filters. That means if you use filters, then it becomes very difficult for you um, to report all the data correctly, and it will also waste a lot of your time. To save that time, we use this tool. So for example, put your cursor anywhere in the table, click on insert, and then click on pivot table. Okay, we click here on pivot table. Satyanand Roy is saying that, can you understand in Hindi? I do understand, but I will be unable to teach in Hindi because of the technical terms involved in it. Okay. So yes, so insert we will, and we have to put your, suppose if I put here my cursor and then I click on pivot table, then table range is not being selected, then it will become incorrect. And many people start making mistake from here. They will put their cursor in here in any one of these blank cells and then they will start clicking on pivot table. That will not work. So what you need to do is you have to click anywhere, not necessarily in the beginning, anywhere. Okay, then click on pivot table. Now look at this. This entire table has been selected automatically by default, right? Until 279, this has been selected. So select a table or range, sales figure, the sheet, and from $A $1, that is absolute value of this cell, date, right, $A $1, to $E$279, that means until here we have selected the range of the data, right, from this point. Okay, then it is saying that where do you want that sheet to appear? Do you want that in the new worksheet or do you want that in the existing worksheet? So I click on the new worksheet because I want I can put it in the existing worksheet as well or in the new worksheet. It's always better to use the new worksheet so that it does not interfere with your current sheet. Click on OK. Now look at this. A pivot table 4 has been created. Pivot table 4 because I already, just to prepare this, I created pivot 3 tables. So new worksheet and pivot table 4 has been created and you will see this selection, right? Yeah, and at the same time these fields will appear. Okay, here you will have field name. Here there are only 5 field names, but in a real scenario in Excel you will have 50, 60, 100 fields. Okay, then you have 4 field areas. Okay, these are called field areas: filters, columns, rows and values. If you can understand these 4 field areas, then it becomes a very simple job for you. How? Let's understand this. Suppose I told you I want to know that how many times client 1 has bought the services. Okay, how many times? So what I can do, I will client and I want that in the row, means I will put every client in the row, and I will just show you how does that work. So I will drag this and put it in rows. Look at this. It is coming in row. All the clients in the alphabetical order. And why it is coming after client 1, it is coming client 10, because this is in alphabetical order. And once it will have client 19, then 2 will appear, and then 20, and then 21. And then, okay, similarly, what would have happened if I had put this in the column? I will drag this and put this in the column and then see how it appears. See, then this is how it is appearing. The presentation has now changed from client 1, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It is now appearing in a row. So you have to decide which field you want to display either in the row or in the column. This is the first thing that you need to decide to use pivot table carefully, usefully. Yes, Dharni, it will be available if the session is over. You can bookmark that link and you can use the same link to watch that. Okay. Yes, yes, Nupur, absolutely right. Horizontal wise or the column wise, how do you want to decide? It's entirely your choice, and that is why these rows and columns are built. So I have to put in columns. So let's put it in the rows because I want to put it in the rows in this way. In every row, I have put in the client's name. Now, there are 2 things that I want to know. The first thing I want to know is how many times each of these clients have bought services from me. So what can I do? I have to drag this value and bring it here. Now this, look at this, it is saying sum of the values. Okay, but I needed the count, that each time how many clients have bought my products. So what I will do, look at this I will simply click on this I on the right hand side of sum of value. Click on this I, and the moment I click or double click on sum of value, these formulas will appear, that how do you want to summarize by sum, count, average, max, min, etc. Demetre, cell with values is put in values, absolutely yes. So whichever value do you want, we put that in the value. Since we wanted count, so we will use count, and then we will click on OK. Now look at this, the count of value. So client 1 bought 3 times, client 10 bought 8 times, and so on and so forth. For total 34 clients are there. For each client it is giving the data how many times they bought. I want to know how many times they bought and total value how much they paid. so that I get to know that who is the highest paid client. What I can do, I can again click on value and then drag it once again. Now it is automatically, once you drag sum of value, now it is giving sum of values. That means this client 1 bought 3 times and sum of value is 76,000. Now suppose I want to know for each client which of the services did they bought, did they buy, and how much did they pay for each of those services. So what will I do? I have to now find out the services and I have to put it in the row, right? I can put it in the column also, but I will just put it in the row. So let me see that. I will click services and put it in the rows. Now look at this. It is saying that client 1 bought SEO 1 times and paid 15,000 rupees. SMO bought 2 times and paid 61,000 rupees, combining both. So you get each of these services. Each of these clients, which services they bought, it is giving a complete summarized value over here. Now suppose I want the transaction for client 11, for example. That means the complete detail I want. On which did they buy? On means I want this entire data, all these figures for client 11. So I will go over here, client 1, look at the value, I will click on value and then I will double click on it. So the moment you double click, a new sheet appears and it tells the detail about client 11, right? And this entire detail, it is telling that on which date the client bought the services, which services was bought by the client name, of course, we chose client 11, industry, from which industry he is, and or for which industries I have classified that, and the value of each time that they bought. Now, Dev Mitra, you were saying that creating client detail for every client, it would have become a humongous task, especially if you have new recurring clients every month. You cannot maintain a separate seat because in that case it will be in numerous number of seats and it becomes quite a heavy file, right? uh, yes, there are certain designing options also, like header row, do you want to keep it or not, so that you can total number of rows, you can keep a total row also. Last column you want to highlight, make it bold. First column you want to make it bold. These are designing options that you can go and try, but these are the options that you need to remember. And the main part that you still need to remember here is that you need to understand these areas, and if you can do that, it becomes very simple. Now let me do one thing. What is filter? Now if you want to filter this by industry, okay, from which industry I'm generating my money, so what will I do? I will go here, take the industry and put it in the filter. Now what happened? This industry is coming over here. All industries? No, I want to suppose choose just automobile industry, all the details of automobile industry. Now, in automobile industry, I have client 14, 15, 16, 18. These all are clients are there in automobile industry, and they bought SMO services and worth value this. In this particular case, I can now remember and I can get this value for each industry that I'm operating in, right? That is a beautiful. I mean, you can understand the kind of power pivot table has for your analysis purposes and how much time it can save for you. Similarly, the date, you can choose date as well, right? And you can put this date in rows. Suppose I put it here. Now, I don't want to make it too complicated, but suppose I put date at the top. Or let me do one thing. For now, what I will do is, just to explain you the date function, I will remove the other functions just for, and we can add it of course later on. I will remove the services as well. Now look at this. Date is coming automatically. Years and quarters and date. And date is summarized as a month, right? So what I will do is I will remove the years as well. Automatically, the moment you selected dates, it's coming as I will remove industry as well. I will remove I will keep the value, and I will remove the count of value means I will remove count of value as well. I will just put sum of values, and I will remove the quarter as well and year as well. Now see this. You can now look at this. The entire data is now organized by Jan, Feb, March, April on a monthly basis, on which month you have generated how much money. Similarly, you can do for yearly basis as well. You just remove this, just a second, date, and you keep on year. Just a moment. You need to add, see this is the error is coming. Why? Because date is not added in the row. I will just keep it in the row. I will remove this count of date and count of years. Count of years also I will remove from here. I will just keep right quarters. I can keep just year and remove quarters. Just a second, I will bring years, and then I will remove quarters also. Remove field. I will just remove this one as well. Now, look at this. It is coming 20, 21, 22. After that, you can add more dates, like in each year, you can also add date, and you can bring it here. So now it is saying in 2022, this is the number of months. Similarly in 2021, and similarly in 2022, you have these figures, right? So this is what you have to keep experimenting. Just put something that you want to analyze in the rows, and then use the value formula. Which formula do you want? Double click on this and you will get uh, the formula that you want to keep, right? Now within this you can have multiple options. I will not go into all the options because it is now, we have already crossed the time limit, so we will be just ending this in 10 minutes. But just quickly, you can keep this services, for instance. You can add more value, right? And then you can keep adding multiple features over here. Just make sure that whenever you are adding something, okay, uh, do this like this. Services, if you suppose you have to add services, then you add over here, right? Values you want to add over here, right? So now this is summarized by April, all the content, May, all services, and so on and so forth for every year and every month. This has been summarized by services, right? So this is how you use pivot table, filled area, working with date, functions, and summary. We just saw all of them. The next part is VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP charts. And this is the final part. We have finished after that. We will quickly, not take more than 5 minutes to explain that. Just hold for a second. Yeah. So what I've done is, and this is VLOOKUP is quite interesting. I just wanted to have, okay. So I will just explain this and then we will close this. Suppose I have, you know that as when you work, you have different files in different data in different Excel files. All right, and we you want to uh, capture some input, some data from other Excel files. You can use VLOOKUP. I mean, you can use from same sheets also, okay? But it is very useful. VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions are very useful when you have to copy data, when you have to link two different workbooks, two different Excel files, then it is very useful. And I will explain you how it is done. So for example, in this case, suppose I have used this um, just a second. So I have used this one and original data. I will open up this one. Now I have kept this data over here: name, email ID, phone number, and course. Now suppose I am using another Excel file, this one, and I also want here name, their email IDs from this Excel file. Okay, these two files are different. So what I will do is, suppose I will click over here, double click, then VLOOKUP. Now this, look at this, lookup value, table array, column index number, and range lookup. These four items are entered. So what exactly do you want? So I want that whenever I find Aman, it will copy its email ID here. And we always find the unique value. So lookup is, I want to find out the email ID of Aman. So I will click over here, Aman, B2. Then, comma, table array, right? From which source? The source from where you want to look up the data. So I will go and select the source. Remember that when we select the source, we do not select the serial number, the header row, or the header column. We just select the data from here, right? And then look at this original data, sheet 1, and this has been selected. Then the next is column index number. Which index number, which column do you want to put, which value? Now in this case, I want to paste the email ID. Okay, that means this is there in the column 2. Although it is there in column 3, we selected the data only starting from Aman. We did not select the data which was starting from A. We started only from B. So this is the first column, and then this becomes the second column, that is column is 2. Then you will use 2. Then something that we use, range lookup. And that means, although I will upload a different video for that, this range, just understand that if we want exact match, okay, and there are approximate match. So for example, Aman Sarma, Aman Sinha, Aman Pandey, Aman Malhotra, any Aman. So in that case, it is not an exact match, it is approximate match. Then we put true. But we will not put true here because then approximate matches could be many. Then we will put it here false. That means we want exact match. Only this function should work if it finds the exact match, then only this should put the data. And you click enter. Why it is not taking B2 original data sheet 1? Okay, I put the spelling of false incorrect. FAL. Yes, now this should be working. Now see, it has taken Aman at the rate 6pl.com from here. Right? So yes, 0, 1 or true false, you can use any one of these. We use false for exact match. Remember just this thing. And then you just drag it until here and you will find all of them. See, all the data has been copied, but in front of Nisha this is not coming anything because this Nisha did not exist over here. Right? This is the simple VLOOKUP, and this is very useful if suppose you have maintained a salary data. Now, the salary data of the organization you cannot share with everybody, but you can share other information. So what can you do? You can use VLOOKUP to just copy the, and at the same time, if you create multiple copies of the Excel file, then there is a possibility that if the salary changes, for example, now you have to update 5 files. And as we know that updating on 5 files is practically not possible, especially in the corporate environment, because we are always in the hurry. We have to do something and quickly we have to jump to the next work. So we can use then VLOOKUP function to select the data, to search the data and paste only those data which is needed from a different file without exposing entire data. Just remember that hLookup works similarly, exactly in the similar fashion. It is just that the data will be in the row and it will find horizontally and it will work horizontally. The function remains exactly the same, right? Then coming to the next part, which is charts, I will not going to cover here. Just I will give you one quick idea of the how the charts are made, but um, then select the VLOOKUP and fill the box. That's easy. Yes, absolutely. Once you have created this VLOOKUP and then you don't have to do anything, simply you can do that. If suppose I do it here, it is not coming. I mean, simply we can again make it for all the columns and drag it until the end, and all the data will be done. Charts, I'm not going to explain it clearly, I mean all the functions of it, but just a brief overview of you select data, how do we create a chart? We go on insert, there are multiple chart options here, okay? You can go and you can, there are some recommended now and other titles also. Suppose I use this one, so the chart is prepared. Okay, there is chart title and this is there. If you want to make any changes, you can simply now there are multiple options, so you will see here if you want this sales figure data, sales, this is mentioned here, the numbers are mentioned over here. If you want this format, this design, you can use this one, and this design, I mean you can use the designs, etc., right? Format, you can use different formats, the name, etc., you can choose. These are the heights and rows, you can choose other things, designs. It's very simple. Not add more charts elements, access titles, data labels, you can add data labels as well, change the data labels and how it is shown. You can make all the changes from here, right? This is like this, the data labels will appear differently. Center, it will appear like this. So you can make those changes over here. And this is grid lines, you can, whether you can show or do not show. Say the grid lines, you can decide. Quick layout, like this, you can change the layout in this way. All right, you can select this and change this size as well. Okay, you can go and make the color, you can change like this one, and you can change the font size as well. So there are chart design options that you can switch the rows, columns as well. You can click here and now this rows and columns have been switched, right? Okay. Now I will just these are some of the charts that you can go and experiment and you can come up with the questions. But before we end up this session, now I would like to handle your questions. Jitendra is saying how two worksheets are linked so that change in one reflects in the other. Jitendra, working on two worksheets are actually very easy. So, for example, if I have to make changes over here, right? What I can do is simply I click on equal to sign and then whichever sheet I want to link with, suppose this one, okay, I can click on this one and then enter. See, the value came here, the loan amount. So linking the sheets within the workbook is quite simple. Okay. The challenge comes only when uh, challenge comes only when you have different workbooks. Similarly, I just you drag it here and it will link other cell as well. Look at this. Similarly, you can just click this and you will find that all the links have been linked. So this is taking from EMI sheet C3 column. EMI sheet C3. So in just one line, what you need to do, whichever you want to link, simply click on equal to sign and then go on the sheet that you want to link and then check the button and click enter. The data will be automatically coming here. WhatsApp status is saying how we can split data into one column to two column. That these are some of the functions that I will either upload a video or will conduct a live session on in the future, because we have already exceeded the time today. And highlight with the color. Okay, highlighting with the color is quite simple. Simply go here and check this and then you can select this. But these are the functions. If you have any questions, drop this as a comment once the session ends, and I will upload a video highlighting all these things, all these challenges, and any questions, any features that you want me to discuss, I will discuss that. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for joining me. And okay, anything else that you would like to ask? Yes. So great. Thank you very much, Devmitra. Thank you. And it was good to know because you use Excel a lot of times, right? So if you have got some useful information from this, it means it's really useful to others as well. WhatsApp status is saying if we use filter and color to be changed. I did not got your question, but you can use filter. There is nothing to do with color. That is a formatting part. Michael, thank you very much. What about linking two workbooks by VLOOKUP? Jitendra, you have to use VLOOKUP, right? The function that we just saw. And you have four data that needs to be selected, right? And there you have to, the first is the one that you want to look up. The second, the table array that you have to go on that Excel file and select the one. If you want, I can just re-repeat it or you can watch the video later on, right? Okay then, thank you very much. Thanks everybody. I will end the session here and then you can drop a message if you want and or email me and I will try to address them as well. Great. Thanks everyone. Thank you very much. Thanks. WhatsApp status, please drop a message once the session ends so that I will check and respond there. Okay. I will create a different video for that. Thanks everyone. Bye. Good night.